Okay, looking at another slingshot that has very similar reed switches like yours does. This is the adjusting tool, and this is the switch that you're going to adjust. You don't adjust this leaf, the front one, you adjust this back one. From the top, it's not nearly, it's kind of difficult to do. You end up bending the top part of the switch instead of down to the bottom. If you look at these two switches, you can see that they're a little bit different in adjustment. That one's a little closer, and that one's a little farther away. That's probably about the right distance away. You'll notice it takes a pretty good bounce to make contact, and you know it makes contact when it starts to move. So it takes a pretty good bounce of the ball to make that move. When it does, this is what activates and throws your ball back out. But as you can see, if it comes back in, if it resonates just a little bit enough that when it springs, it makes contacts again, it fires it again. So you have to be careful that you get enough so it's sensitive, but not enough, not so much that it starts to get into a feedback loop and starts to bounce on its own. Alright, I'll take you on the underside of the playfield and show you where we adjust it. Okay, this is the adjuster tool, and I sent you the link of where you can buy one. It has two ends, and you can see it's just a little piece of metal that's flattened out a little bit, and then has a split in it. One's for 90 degrees, this one's kind of at a 45-degree angle, so you can reach pretty much any leaf spring that you can get to do the adjustment. This one's starting to get a little worn, and these get pushed out a little bit, so once in a while you have to mash them back together. This is what we're going to be using to adjust it. Okay, this is going to be going in on the slingshot mechanism. You see right here, this is the coil. When that coil fires, it pulls down this arm. And that arm is what kicks the kicker out forward. Here are the two switches. One on the top side. This one's the one that's actually further up the play field. This is the one that's down in the lower part of the play field. This is the one we're going to adjust just because it's the easiest for me to get to so I can see it. And what you want to do is you can take either one that works more conveniently for you. But you remember, we don't want to adjust the one that's up against the rubber band, this one. We want to adjust the one that's behind it. And usually there's a backup piece of metal that's kind of holding it rigidly, and you kind of have to grab both of those at the same time. And get your tool over the two pieces low, and then adjust it in the direction that you want it to go. If you want it closer, in this case, closer is going to be more towards the other one, because I ended up using the 45-degree tool. You want to be low against that block right there. You want to be low against that block. You don't want to be high up on it. And then you give it a little bend. Sometimes it takes more than you think it does. It's kind of an iterative process, and then you go back up on top and you look and see how you did. Okay, now if you look at it, it's a little bit closer. We were adjusting this one right here, and it's a little bit closer than it was. It's now close, almost as close as the one on the other side. Still a little bit more gap. The only way really to test it is to turn the machine on, and you can still do it while it's down like this, and bounce the ball against it. Take the pinball and bounce against it, and with it on, it'll fire. Cue up a game if you have to, or put it into the test mode. In the test mode, these will fire as soon as the switches go. The other thing that can be a factor is the age and weakness of your rubber band. If your rubber band is starting to get worn and it gets looser, then sometimes that can cause it to start to repeat.